Williams and guests. Only on 100.4 The Most FM.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41 on The Most FM, the tastiest food show on The Most FM. We love to talk about food, garden, hospitality in our beautiful Taranaki, and about people who are involved in all the above, and of course music. We are recording our show live on our Facebook group page. Look for Taranaki Foodies with Area 41. Join in if you like to peek behind the scenes. I'm Alina Williams, local foodie, socialite and selfie taker. And my co-star is Warwick Foy, fellow broadcaster, educator and the president of SOBA.
Buenos dias.
For those who don't know, SOBA means Society of Beer Advocates. Our videographer is the rising star Oli Foy. Lord. And our guest today is a wonderful lineup of guests. Jules van Costello, restaurateur, author, sommelier from Cult Wines. Reyse Taylor, the owner of Mad Max. Ruby Hosking, foodie and musician. How about we listen to some music first? The first music piece is We Are Going to Be Friends by the White Stripes. I love this music. So Jules sent me the whole playlist of 3 music songs and I love them all, but they were so different. You would never expect it from anyone except myself, because I have a very eclectic music taste. And if someone would ask me what sort of music you like, I'd probably take like a 30-minute break. Did it take you a long time to set up?
No, not really. I was just like listening to some stuff and I was like, I will play these things.
Okay.
I just wanted to play something interesting.
I've
Yeah.
played the song a couple times at some of my gigs before, so
It's such a nice song.
it's so cute. I love it.
Did you say that it's only one EP that they issued?
No, that's
another one.
Darcy Clay.
Oh.
So the first song was Jesus I Was Evil by Darcy Clay. Do you know? No.
Yeah.
Pretty
dark.
Really obscure early 90s punk rock New Zealand
Oh, I love
New
that.
Zealander.
This was so cool.
Who released one EP and then committed suicide. But he has a really amazing cover of Jolene.
Oh, cool.
But then his sort of more famous songs called Jesus I Was Evil, and it's
It's very philosophical. It shows how the person progressed through the life, like even people who had bad thoughts or evilness in them.
It's your restaurant's that Mexican place, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be Tesoro Fresh Mix,
Yeah.
but we switched the name because we thought that Mexican place was easy to remember, stuck in the brain, and it was kind of funny.
And that's what everyone called it.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, the amount of times we were sitting and like working in the kitchen and someone would pick up a call and they were like, oh hey, oh yeah, no, I'm just at you know that Mexican place? Yeah.
So
just,
what is it called now?
that Mexican place.
That Mexican
Yeah,
place.
honestly, it just made sense.
Why didn't you correct me?
What is Tesoro then? Is that a region?
Tesoro, so Tesoro means treasure
Ah.
in Mexican, yeah. So it wasn't our choice, so that Mexican place was part of us deciding we needed to make some changes and sort of make it a bit more our own. So
But you've
that's
owned it for a long time.
Yeah, I have, yeah, but it wasn't originally ours. So I just started there as an employee.
Welcome back to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41. It was a lovely song selected by Jules van Costello, and it was We Are Going to Be Friends by the White Stripes. So Jules, why did you choose this song?
It's a song I really like. It's kind of nice and friendly, and it's like a lovely kind of Saturday afternoon song.
Wow, I read about you online and it's amazing.
Oh
How many things you achieved in life? You are the owner of celebrated Hillside Kitchen and Cellar.
I'm a partner. I'm not the primary owner. I just want to make that clear. Asher, who's my business partner, he can take more credit than me.
It doesn't really matter, you're still involved at the school because it's a very celebrated place. You are half owner or part owner of the ramen shop, right?
Yep, same group.
Yeah, and it's Food in a Valley, Wellington. And Warwick, you might not know, but Warwick started the movement in Taranaki which called We Need the Ramen Shop in New Plymouth.
Yeah, I saw the Facebook page. Yeah.
And now it turned into the ramen life in New Plymouth. And suddenly the ramen shop from Wellington came to New Plymouth. How cool is that?
I'll be honest, like I'm not involved in the ramen shop day-to-day running, and like I know what's in the things, but I can't cook ramen. So you're looking at the wrong person. I'm just the wine guy.
Well, we're looking at the right person because you obviously had some interest in this idea, and I looked at the menu online, and it's very simple, like a ramen shop on the street in some Asian country, and it was really, really cool to see that.
Yeah, essentially it's very traditional ramen made with New Zealand ingredients, so it's not like sometimes we get criticised for being not as authentic as it could be or should be, but the fact is it's in Wellington, it's in Newtown, which is a little suburb, and it's right for where it is.
You know what's distinctive about it, Olena?
Okay, you've been there, have
I've
you?
been there, yeah. And there's one in town, right?
There isn't anymore.
COVID.
We turned it into a casual restaurant
Ah.
post-COVID.
Right. What's distinctive about the two restaurants, one now closed, is they have wooden cutlery.
Yay!
It's very cool.
It's very cool,
Yeah.
yes, that's true. And also, Jules, you're the author of 2 books about beers.
Yes, so 2 books about beer called Brewed, and then my 3rd book, which is about wine, is coming out at the end of the year.
Wow, and interestingly, before meeting you, Warwick already had a book about brew, and it was signed by you. This is a wonderful coincidence, isn't it?
Yeah, little story, yeah. Oh, you want me to tell the story? It's very short.
Okay, I got a book at the end.
I'm going to make sure I get it right. So I work at Sacred Heart Girls College, and I replaced a wonderful, wise woman called Mary Muschin. She is good friends with the parents of Jules's wife, and Ruby, who is going to perform for us shortly, also attends the school.
Oh,
So
awesome.
there's the link. So it was Mary who got the book signed for me.
That's wonderful. So I would like to read a quote that I believe belongs to Jules from one of the online sources. Okay. Homebrew can be very good, but the art of the brewer in making consistent beers week on week, year on year is at another level. So there are a lot of home brewers, and most of them members of SOBA, and people are kind of encouraged at the moment to do homebrew. Do you think they would never reach the level of professional brewer?
Oh no, I've had homebrew that is better than a lot of commercial beer, and especially in the homebrew competitions, like some of the beers are absolutely amazing. The hard thing, and the thing I was trying to say in that sort of statement, the hard thing about commercial beer is that you needed to get it perfectly right every time, because your customer expects the same thing every time, and I think that's a quality and a technical kind of feat. It's the same in restaurants with really, really good chefs. Being super creative and making an amazing plate of food is one thing, and it's one skill, but actually being able to make the same plate of food
1,000 times.
1,000 times is a completely different skill, and I think that skill is often overlooked, whether it comes to beer or food or other things. And I think that's the thing that, like, a lot of, when I wrote the book, a lot of home brewers would come to my events and go, I want to build a brewery, and I'm like, awesome, that's great, but A, do you have a channel to market, and B, you do know you're going to be brewing your same lager, your same pale ale, your same IPA over and over again. So like, if you want to be super creative, like, homebrew is a great way to go. But no, I mean, like, homebrew can be absolutely amazing. But the craft of a professional brewer is being able to replicate that recipe in a consistent way.
Totally agree. And I think there's 2 kinds of homebrew. There's homebrew and there's homebrewed. Last century, it was usually made from some sort of extract, and it was not very nice, often infected. Guys didn't have the knowledge, the technology, the equipment. Then came along YouTube, and also Trade Me and eBay. So now you could watch endless YouTube videos of how to brew, and you can source all the really nice equipment that comes from overseas, and you can build a really nice brewery. You can learn how to control temperature and how to control sanitation, and those are the 2 most important aspects of brewing.
And also, I'd add doing it yourself. So like, there's nothing wrong with, and you can actually make solid beers, drinkable beers with kits, but like, you can't ever reach sort of that quality level unless you're doing full grain brewing and doing everything yourself.
We have some brewers that became commercial brewers and started from the little home project. I think Three Sister Breweries, Mike's Breweries, all craft brewers started from a little home project, and they're doing well because Taranaki is extremely loyal. Isn't it amazing? So, how brewing turned into winemaking for you, Jules?
Well, so I've always been a wine person my whole career, and so it was more. I worked as a wine professional. I became interested in beer at the same time, particularly, this is like now 15, 16 years ago, as craft beer was kind of coming onto the scene, so I did both for a little bit. I've always been a writer and I've always wanted to write books rather than sort of short form. And so one of the reasons I kind of got deep into beer was that there was a real demand for a book about New Zealand beer, and then two books about New Zealand beer. So it sort of was just like a pivot, kind of reacting to kind of what there was demand for. And I mean, I still love beer, but I'm by no means sort of a beer professional anymore. I drink beer, but
so
yeah.
you are called sommelier, and sommelier is a profession, right?
So I was a sommelier. So sommelier is someone in a restaurant who sells wine, and yeah.
Someone who learns what wine is, what regions it came from, years and stuff like that. I remember I've been in Paris trying wines, and there was a beautiful girl who was a sommelier, and it was really unusual to have a girl because normally it's male-dominated profession. And she said that she had wonderful 2 years of practice in New Zealand, French sommelier, and this was really, really amazing. And she said she noticed some Australians and New Zealanders inside the group, and she said, you know, guys, whatever I tell you doesn't really matter. If you want to have your Reyse from the fridge, as Australians do, don't worry, just have it. And she talked a lot about wine pairing with different foods. So, and I've seen different, I don't know, instructions online what wine is supposed to go with what food. So can you give us the direction, Jules?
Drink what you like with food you like, is the short form. Like there are a whole lot of really different ways of matching wine and food, or indeed beer and food. But like ultimately, yeah, it's about enjoyment. So I stress for people not to take things all too seriously and just drink what they like with the food they like, and also like do things that make sense. So for instance, there's a saying, what grows together goes together. So that is to say, if you've got a dish from a part of, which has inspiration from a part of say France or Italy or Spain, like the first thing you do when you think about wine matches is go to find a wine or a beer, in the case of say Northern France or Belgium or Holland or England, from that place, because often like the wine and the food that have grown up together, they make sense together. Like the best examples like goat's cheese and Sauvignon Blanc. So both goat's cheese and Sauvignon Blanc kind of find their spiritual home in the Loire Valley, and like they go so well together, and it's just a case of like they have evolved together, and so it makes sense.
Well, this is amazing. I like the idea of spiritual grounds and things like that. I also think that they use the same water, they use the same minerals from the soil, and sometimes that's subtle things that we do not know consciously but feel subconsciously. You are representative and owner of Cult Wines.
Yep. Yeah. So,
tell us about it.
Okay. So, yes. So, Cult Wine is our little wine retail business. So we specialise in natural, lo-fi, and small batch wines. That is to say, wines made in really small volumes, and we sort of champion small producers, quite innovative styles, and again, yeah, a lot of natural wine as well.
So it's like a craft winery.
Yeah, it is. It's sort of like the ideas of craft beer, but taken to sort of the next level in terms of wine. So the whole philosophy behind natural and lo-fi wine is that you're trying to make wine with as little intervention as possible. And so you're trying not to do things like filtering, fining, using mechanical processes to kind of interrupt the wine, and then like not using as much sulfur and other things. So sometimes the wines are pretty crazy, and we really love crazy wine, but they don't have to be. But yeah, it's just a very kind of more recent genre of wine that's sort of come onto the market, and we love it.
That's absolutely amazing. I remember discussing the sulfur in wine with many people. Some ladies have even a little bottle of chemicals, so which
Don't get me started on that one.
All right. So sulfur in wine is reality, or is it like pseudo danger that we have?
Yeah, so it's I think like obviously if you want to make wine and if you want to drink wine without sulfur, then like I think people should have the choice to do that. And I love both of those things. But the danger of sulfur and the fear of sulfur is completely overblown. Like the amount of sulfur, even in very commercial wine, is significantly less than and a whole number of other foods that we eat. Like, I mean, French fries, dried fruit, most candy, all has a ton more sulfur dioxide in wine. And I always want to stress that sulfur is a naturally occurring product in wine. So like, even a wine made with no added sulfur will still have a little bit in it. And so sulfur in and of itself, I think people get a little bit too kind of over the top about.
Well, I was thinking whether I have a choice of candy or wine. I would probably choose wine, even if it has sulfur in it. All right, so I want to evoke a memory from the past. When I was living in Ukraine, we had Beaujolais festivals. Beaujolais in French means young wine, and it was so popular. It was very popular among white-collar people, those who go to the offices and earned a relatively high amount of money. So it was huge. It cost a lot of money, and it was really a kind of elite. Is it elite? So and then when I went to France and went to several wineries and things like that, I just realized they don't value Beaujolais. Can you have
Yeah, sure. So Beaujolais is a wine region in France, and Beaujolais Nouveau is young wine. And so Beaujolais releases their first wines from the vintage. I think it's like the third Sunday or something in November. So bear in mind, like Beaujolais is literally harvesting grapes right now.
All right.
Like as we speak. Because I'm watching people on Instagram do it. Not literally right now, but yeah, mates and things. But Beaujolais Nouveau was huge for a while. Realistically, like Beaujolais Nouveau is some of the most commercially cropped, commercially made, like over-made wine, because you're trying to get it into a bottle. They use a process called carbonic maceration, which makes it really light, really fruity, really juicy. None of those things are inherently wrong, but like Beaujolais is one of the most exciting wine regions in France. It is amazing. And also the wines are really good value. Like we have a wine online at the moment. It's $25 a bottle. It's beautiful, organic Beaujolais, and it tastes like the place. Beaujolais Nouveaux don't taste like, they taste like the winemaking. And so, but Beaujolais has become this hub of the natural wine scene because people have pushed back against that nouveau and the industrialization of it, and gone towards making really traditional wine, which is amazing.
From a marketing point of view, to sell something underdeveloped is really, you have to be a marketing genius, which is Beaujolais Nouveau is, and making it popular all over the world, making it like a trademark of the region. This is great, and I think that people who did that from marketing point of view deserve a medal.
Yeah, well, his name is Georges Duboeuf, so he is the producer of, well, I don't know if he's still alive now, but he was the person basically behind that trend, and it was a way of getting money. And one of the reasons that Beaujolais Nouveau is so much more expensive is that most of it's air freighted, and so you're paying air shipping on relatively cheap commercial wine. But yeah, no, I mean, like marketing wise, absolutely genius. And it's actually been good for the wine world too, because you've had this big movement against it, which has encouraged all these producers to do amazing things.
That's really interesting. So what's your opinion on wines from New Zealand?
Generally, I love New Zealand wine. Like my third book, which comes out at the end of the year, is all about really exciting modern new producers. Obviously, we make tons of Sauvignon Blanc, and like realistically, much of it is quite sort of samey. But like there is all sorts of amazing New Zealand wine. It just depends on like there's something for everyone. It just depends on what you like.
I've heard an opinion saying that the best white wines come from New Zealand, but the best red wines come from the south of Australia. Is that true?
No, like not at all. Like there is amazing white wine from the south of Australia. We import some producers from Adelaide Hills, McLaren Vale, and also Yarra, which is in Victoria. They make white wine as well as red wine, and like there is amazing red wine too. It really depends on what you like, and so the reason New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs become so important is that realistically we can make really high volumes of Sauvignon Blanc at a very, very high quality level very cheaply. So it's become sort of our niche in the wine world, and we can make relatively good, especially on the international spectrum, cheap Sauvignon Blanc. That's something we can do. We can't make cheap red wine.
No.
It's not something we can do, whereas you can make cheap red wine in South Australia. And so it depends, but like if you want to spend 50, 100, even more, like it's all about whether you like it or not. And so like there are amazing red wines from Hawke's Bay, there are amazing red wines from Central Otago, there are amazing red wines from everywhere, and there are amazing white wines from all over South Australia. So it's not one or the other.
Oh, awesome. So you'll have a challenge later on because we have a guest who brought some Mexican food. So we are going to listen from you about matching of ethnic foods with some wines.
Yeah, I mean, I love matching all sorts of food with wine. It's quite funny, I didn't bring the right wine, but we actually import a brand from Australia called Somos, and one of their winemakers is Mexican. And they also make some wine in Mexico. But yeah, it's just simple. It's like you eat food, you drink wine, and it works. It's not, you don't have to overthink it.
That's good. So I would like to remind our listeners that if you are watching us on Taranaki Foodies Area 41 Facebook group page, you have an opportunity to win 2 vouchers from Area 41. I believe they're dinner vouchers, and you need to put a comment on our live. It could be a funny comment, it could be a clever comment. We prefer clever, Warwick, right?
No, I prefer funny.
I prefer compliments.
Anything that you would like to tell us, and Warwick will choose one and I'll choose one recipient of this vouchers. Thank you very much, Area 41, for being so generous. And it's a perfect time to listen to the second music piece, and I'll let Warwick to introduce it.
All right. Well, Ruby is going to perform for us. What we'll actually do is we'll just quickly play our ads, so that gives her a moment just to get ready. But I'll introduce the song now. It's called "Run with the Wolves." And Ruby, how long have you been performing the song? I know it's one of your original songs.
So I wrote it about like 2 months ago now. Yeah, I wrote
Long time.
Yeah, I wrote this song because I actually came second in the Taranaki Rock Quest regional final. And I wrote it to enter into the national round. So.
Awesome. And so when is the national round been?
Yeah, it's been. I sadly didn't make the cut, but I'm stoked that I came second in Taranaki Live.
Awesome. Let's please support those who support us, and we'll come back with Ruby Hosking here on The Most.
Do we have someone
Bruce the Builder.
commenting? One person? Okay, write down the name.
For all your project needs.
I'll give you
Bruce and Crew on
5 seconds, and then you just when it stops, you just start.
Proud to be franchise free and up for local construction, large or small. You'll be happy you called Bruce the Builder Limited.
It's one of the hardest dishes to master, the baked Alaska. There are how-to guides out there.
Thank you very much, Jules. You're so knowledgeable. This is so amazing to talk to you. Thank you.
And a lot simpler. Harcourt's Taranaki offers a full how-to guide to make selling your home stress-free.
I got into wine because I was working at wine bars in university, and then I just kept working in wine. Yeah.
You'll be great.
So this is the last ad, and then there's just an 8 seconds left. You don't want to beat it. You can hold it.
So you're not haggling with insurance companies.
Well, this comment is from my husband. He's not getting any vouchers.
And I'm surprised there hasn't been one from my wife.
And your wife too, because normally she comments.
I wouldn't be surprised if my husband jumped on.
felt once. So I'm waiting for the wolves to come, and I want to run with the wolves, and so I tiptoe out of my room. I run barefoot down the stairs. I say quietly that I'm not scared, and it echoes through the woods, sound of delighted kids who love to live among the sun. So I'm waiting for the wolves to come, and I want to run with the wolves. I'll spend 40 days here in my room, and I swear I heard them call my name. So I guess I'll wait for my day. Should I go out on my own? Build my dreams from this dug up home. I don't think they'll ever come. So I cry to the arms of my mom, and I want to run with the wolves, and so I tiptoe out of my room. I run barefoot down the stairs. I say quietly that I'm not scared.
Wow, this was awesome. Such an angelic voice. Yes. So it was one of our guests. It was Ruby Hosking. Sorry, I was so blown away with your song. So it's amazing how much talent we have in Taranaki. So you were singing this song, and it was so inspiring because the message is that I'm not scared. I need to step out and do things that I dream about. And
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly the inspiration behind it. Because I guess it's something like a lot of young people battle with trying to figure out where they want to go and should I do it? Should I not? Should I take that leap? And that's pretty much what it's about. Just do it. Don't be scared. Just run with the wolves. Go.
I remember this time of my life. It actually was quite daunting to realize that there are so many choices, and you're afraid to make one because you never know whether it's correct one or not. But what made me this song doing? I couldn't stop looking at the tattoo of our other guest. So Reyse Taylor and her beautiful tattoo of a tigress.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, so tell us, what is this tattoo about?
This one here?
Yes.
It's actually supposed to represent in a warrior. It was about my dad. So you've got the Māori woman and then the lion on the other side. Of course I'm a Leo, so I feel like I have every right to have the lion on me somewhere.
Of course.
But it's to represent my dad and sort of my inner strength, and that's sort of where that came from.
And it goes so well with the song, although they mentioned wolves there, but it's another wild animal. Yeah. You look too young to be the owner of the business.
I get told that a lot. I actually have recently protested because they stopped IDing me. And I wasn't happy about it. I was like, come on guys, I'm 28 next week and I'm pretty sad, like ID me this time. But
Awesome.
yeah, I do get that a lot.
So how come this is just on the second job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us how you become the owner of this business.
Honestly, just through hard work. Like, because I started working for the American couple who originally opened what was Tesoro Fresh Mix, and just through working for them, through I guess commitment to the job and everything like that, it sort of came to a point for them where they realised, you know what, we actually feel our lives pulling us in another direction. What shall we do with this business? And because I was there and we sort of had built such a strong relationship with each other, it was me or nothing.
Oh, awesome. So it's a family business, right?
It is, yes, it is. It's mine, and now it's mine, my older sisters and my mum's. It used to be me and my two sisters. And that's basically because when the opportunity came around to have the business, I pretty much turned to my sisters and I said, look, we have nothing to lose. I was like, either you two do this with me and we do it as a family, or I don't do it at all.
Oh, awesome. And it's nice to have a family support, because whom else can you rely on if not a family?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've always been, you know, not afraid of challenges sort of thing, but I 100% wanted my sisters there, because you definitely, in a situation like that, want to have people you know you can depend on and who will sort of have your back. So.
Yeah, this is trust thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So online, your ethos is fuel for life, number one, and number one, you should never have to choose between a quick meal and quality healthy food. Tell us about why did you choose the Mexican food, and why it is a mixture of a healthy food and a quick food.
I'll be honest, we fell into the Mexican genre of food. I mean, I never knew I was going to work with food when I was fresh out of high school and started working there, but I certainly fell in love with it. I mean, my depiction of Mexican food prior to working there was literally like typical Kiwi corn chips and like putting chili beans and mince together, and like that was it. That's all I had, you know.
That is Mexican, isn't it?
Wow. And then I worked there, and the first thing they sent
The
me
same as
home
butter
with,
chicken is in
yeah. First thing they sent me home with was a bean and cheese burrito, and I wasn't sure. I was like, what is this? But you know, it definitely became food that I could no longer imagine my life without. You know. It's just something I eat every day, and I can't see myself getting bored of.
Are your customers becoming better educated and not saying tortillas and jalapenos?
I mean, guacamole? Like, I'm not sure.
This is we are allowed to do it because it's a New Zealand version of Mexican, isn't it? Do you have a lot of adapted dishes?
I will say over the years, because like I say, my background of Mexican was nil before this, and so definitely as we've progressed through the business, we have learned, we've sought information, and then we've sort of adapted things. Like at the moment, we're doing what's called a Baja. We're calling it a chili taco, but that's developed from a Baja taco, which was like street food then. And we had the idea back then, like, why don't we put a chili prawn in this and do the same thing? Like, I know it's fried like a beer battered fish, but let's try it with chili prawns. And it's become such a staple on the menu from us just having this random idea that now it's there and it's home and it's not going anywhere.
So is it your star dish?
It's definitely one I pitch to newcomers, you know, especially people who are on the go. Like I'll come and I'll be like, you want to be wild? Like you want to have something that you're gonna eat, and then you're like, I could eat 10 of those. I will try and talk them into one of those, because I know that that's something that they'll bite and they'll be like, I need more.
I talked to one of my friends who's nutritionist recently, and she said that people are craving certain types of food. A lot of people are actually craving fats, so that's where the fascination with cheese or some greasy food comes from, and it means that our body doesn't have enough healthy fats. Some people crave sugar, and that's very common, but some people actually crave something crunchy. So I believe that Mexican food comes into the crunchy umbrella. So tell us about your crunchy food.
Well, I'd say we definitely have no lack of crunchy foods. I mean, taco salads, nachos, tacos, but we also have soft options, you know, like burritos. Like some people might think, oh, they're grilled. Like we lightly grill a tortilla, but it's still soft. And then same with quesadillas, they're grilled, so they're toasted, but they're not crispy. You know, they are also soft. So we've kind of got the best of both worlds going on, really. It sort of just depends how you feel.
When can we do the eating part?
Wow, it's coming soon. Be prepared, we are going to try the food and grill our guests and tell the true review on their food and drinks online. So you have 2 children, right?
I do, yes, I have 2 daughters.
Awesome. Are they part of the business too?
I would say they are born and bred on that Mexican place, so 100% they are made of the good stuff.
This is awesome. I would like to remind our listeners that if you watch our live on Facebook group page, Taranaki Foodies with Area 41, and you ask us clever, funny, absurd question, we might choose you to receive one of the vouchers from Area 41. And I think it's a good time to listen to the 3rd music piece.
Right. Oh, sorry. We've got a few things going on today. Ruby chose this piece. I'll let you intro it, Ruby.
So this is from an Australian band called Hockey Dad, and this is my favourite track, Danny.
On vinyl.
Wow, we don't listen to music on vinyl very often. So this is the time when you might put things on the table. Warwick, will you take some photographs, or do you want me to take photographs with your telephone? You can take it. Yeah. I'll just share yours.
Okay. Wow. We always acknowledge that you've had to put it in temporary container and ship it and sit it again.
Bring it closer because wines will are taller, so from the composition point of view it makes sense. Aren't we lucky we are going to try this food?
Did you
don't
want
forget
wine?
when you take bites.
I don't really drink wine. I'm an 18-year-old.
She said she was 18.
I'm 18, but
No, that's fine. I just thought I would offer it.
I like to talk to people's parents before doing it.
yeah. So good. I'm only new 18, so I only drink RTDs, you know.
Theoretically, we need to ask for your ID, you know?
Yeah, so good. I mean, I've got it here, but I don't drink wine, so.
No, that's fine.
Oh, thank you.
I did pour you one.
Thank you. So, mild,
So we'll have to talk about this.
dark
one.
reds, medium,
Hot.
hot.
Good.
Yeah.
Good, good.
And bought Tapatio, for a bit more.
Oh, that's a classic. In every restaurant in the southern US.
Honestly, you can't go wrong with the tap.
We have a whole hot sauce shelf in our fridge, but the problem is we've got more hot sauce than that's in one shelf.
My problem is the
problem.
hot sauce doesn't last very long.
I've been eaten too
No, it's just you need more hot sauce. You just need more choices.
Honestly, it's just, oh yeah, actually, to be honest, I think we could. My mum is actually really into growing veggies and growing chilies.
Oh, sweet.
And she grew all these ghost chilies. But the problem that we worked out was we like our hot food, but we don't like it that hot.
Yeah.
So the problem was if she made hot sauces out of her ghost chilies to try and like custom make hot sauce, one of us had to taste it.
Yeah. I'll trade you some wine for some ghost chilies when they come in. Because you can also blend them with other stuff. Like you can, there's an amazing company in Paikaporiki, just out of Wellington, called Apostle.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Apostle hot sauce, and they actually have it down at Meta K now, because it's all like very beautifully designed. But like they've got a lot of fruit and stuff in their chili sauces, so it like cuts against the heat.
Yeah.
It's almost like chutney.
No, they're still hot sauces, and I mean like a lot of traditional Mexican hot sauces have like either mango or, I mean a lot of it will have like not hot chilies in it or not hot peppers, and so it's just about cutting against the yeah. That's yours.
So we've got something with a bit of sweetness in it here.
Yeah.
Smells so good.
So this is a natural prosecco from Australia.
It's like Christmas. Christmas, like, because that's what I would cook for Christmas morning.
What, should we let it go, or what do you want to do?
Welcome back to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41. It is Alina Williams, Warwick Foy, and our beautiful guests today, Jules van Costello, restaurateur, author, sommelier from Cool Wines, Reyse, the owner of That Mexican Place, Ruby Hosking, foodie and musician. So we have a beautiful feast served to us with our wonderful guests. So can you please tell us what did you bring, Reyse?
Well, I brought you all of our homemade sauces, all of them, so you can try every single one and choose which one suits your spicy palate, what you prefer. We've got a chicken taco salad, got some corn chips, which we make ourselves, and then we've got 2 enchiladas, one is pork and one is veggie.
Oh, is it hard to make corn chips at home?
No, it's so easy.
Oh,
It's so easy. I mean, it's fried tortillas. I don't know, should I be telling you that if you didn't know, but...
and we have some wine poured by Jules. So Jules, tell us, what is that?
So this is a wine called Continental Platter, and it is a Prosecco from the King Valley in Australia, and it is a natural wine.
So Prosecco suggests that it's the same wine that used for making sparkling, right?
Yeah, so it is sparkling, and so it's the same grape variety that they use in the Veneto in Italy. It's just made in Australia.
All right, I would like you guys to try it, Jules, you including, and I'm going to talk to Ruby. Awesome, Ruby. We just listened to your beautiful music, and it was original, which was so amazing. You are one of those creative people who need kind of let yourself out to the world, for the world to appreciate. Tell us, when did you start learning music?
So I got my first guitar for my 7th birthday, but I probably didn't start actually learning it till I was around 12, and then I never sung. I thought I was a terrible singer until my dad walked past my room and opened my door up, and he's like, you need to sing more often, and then...
That's what dads normally do, you need to do this.
Yeah, and then basically...
And you listened.
Yeah, and then and then it started out because, I liked my theatre, and then got into a bit of musical theatre, and then people were like, you need to do this more often, so I started doing a bit more, and then now I am where I am today, so...
So you are the winner of the 2nd award at the Rock Fest, right? Tell us about it.
So I came 2nd in the Taranaki Rock Quest regional final, and this year it was actually all online just because of, COVID. So I just sent in a video of one of my original songs, which is a different one, and got an email back a couple of weeks later saying congratulations, like you've made it to the next round.
So do you train at home? Do you have a vocal teacher?
No, I've never actually had singing lessons before. Just from learning the guitar, you learn to sing. So
you're born talent. This is pretty amazing. So I checked your social media because I'm huge on social media as well. How is that to be one of the cool kids at school?
One of the cool kids? I can't say that I'm one of the cool kids, but I don't know, I guess I just can feel like I just fit into every group and just sit down and have a conversation with every girl. So
I love this little blush you have on your cheeks while you're talking. But you have a lot of projects going on, so you're involved in many things. Would you like to tell us about your extracurriculum involvement?
So at the moment in school we're doing a production, so that's coming up soon at the 4th floor. That's called End of the Golden Weather, so I've got that coming up.
Sorry, you can't hear me, but I love that play.
Yeah.
I was just saying I love that play, it's one of my favourite plays.
Yeah, so I'm playing Furbo. Yeah. And what else have I got coming up? I every now and then sing down at the kiosk, down there on the Sunday sessions that they have down there. And that's kind of all I've got going at the moment. It's been a bit quiet, but yeah.
You had some pictures from the ball, and you look so amazing in your dress. This is so cool. And all your girlfriends were there. This is. I didn't see a lot of boys. Do boys not like to dress up?
So that was actually the boys' high ball. Yeah.
You didn't want to go to
No, I don't think they really like the photos, Yeah.
I have a son who is 12. Well, sooner or later, I'll have to face the same problem.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard, I believe. So, do you have any future projects that you're involved except this play, or including your music Reyse career? Actually?
Yeah, well, I actually am not going into a music career. It's just a passion, a hobby of mine. But I'm actually looking at going into radio. I've applied for ARA down in Christchurch, radio broadcasting, and then I've also applied at Massey Wellington for creative media production to get into like filming and stuff. So
oh, that's awesome. I would like to invite you to our Media Kids program that we run here at the Most FM during school holidays. We have 2 courses. One is for young broadcasters. It is how to be comfortable on radio, how to write for the radio, how to speak on the radio, and the second one is introduction to the commercial music, which means that you will learn how to write a jingle, how to write advertising for the radio, intro or outro, how to use the voice, how to use special effects and things like that. So you can be our guest.
it'll be epic.
Yes, it will be epic. And I think one of the best things that one of the producers from Auckland is going to deliver some of the content, and he works with the stars from all over the world. He sends me his music, and I would never ever play it without his permission, because it's like a trademark on top of another trademark and on top of another trademark. Yeah. So you might have a percussionist from South America, and then the singer from Russia, and the guitarist from United States, and he brings it all. And he leads a very, very modest life here in New Zealand, although he does all this work from for music programs like Disney music and Warner Brothers music and things like that. So he's really, really knowledgeable. So it's pretty amazing. What I would like you to do, I would like you to jump on the page and maybe leave your own content if you want. So just let's get engaged. 2 social media people should work together.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you are one of the workers at the Mexican place, right?
Yep.
So
yep.
How did you find the job?
So I actually had sung at an event at Sacred Heart, and going home with my parents, were like, oh, we want to feed, what do we want? And I was like, I really just feel like a burrito. Walked in there, and at that time I was actually applying for jobs, and that was about 2 years ago now, and I like handed out my CV everywhere, hadn't got any replies, and I walked in there on the wall looking for an employee, and I talked to Reyse. She gave me her email, and then she was like, come in,
Reyse, it's very nice of you to employ young people. Do you have a lot of young employees?
Oh, we definitely do. Well, because we're a family business, we fill up the bulk of the hours, so we need students to do fill the other spaces where we've got them, and great people like Ruby come along and they sell us their confidence and their common sense, and we love them and we hire them, and we don't want to lose them, but we know we have to.
Oh my God, this is a bit sad. But I got a debate recently. The question was, is youth wasted on young? And most of the people, even older people, say no, because there are so many amazing young people who are very articulate, who are very clever, who know what they want, and they also have a lot of opportunities that they're going to use. So I believe, congratulations, you're one of them.
Thank you.
And I believe a great future awaits for you. So thank you very much for coming to our show. So I am going to ask our guests and my co-hosts, are you ready to do us a little review online about the food and drinks? So Jules, do you want to be the first one to talk about Mexican food?
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah, I mean, it's delicious. As I said, we've just moved to Taranaki, so we moved here like 2 months ago. But I like go there quite often for lunch and things like that, because it's easy, and like, I don't know, for those who can see me on Instagram, I'm like a big dude, so I kind of need to eat slightly healthier from time to time. Yeah, really delicious.
Are you a vegan or vegetarian?
No, I eat everything. Yeah.
Same as me.
Seafood diet.
Seafood diet. So Warwick, what's your intake? He's wiping his eyes, so and he must enjoy it. Warwick really likes spicy food.
I'm one of those people that this is a legitimate thing. Like, I'm not actually hot, but I am sweating because I'm allergic to what's the chili hot thing called?
Capsaicin.
Yeah, I'm allergic to it. So it's some of us have this gene that I'm not hot, but I look hot. So, but it also brings
on radio, it's okay, you know.
Yeah. It brings of course a great rush of endorphins when you eat food like this. But what can I say is that I haven't eaten an enormous amount of Mexican food in my life, but this is what I like, it's really ground up. So it's as much of what you've put there is original as you can make it, or sourced as you can make it. As you said, you've made your own sauces, the guac's made by you, and it's just super fresh. All the flavors are delicious. The mouthfeel of what's in the tray?
Enchiladas. So
Enchiladas, yeah. Pulled, right? And the beans in there.
Yeah.
I love
So
that.
it gave you the best of both worlds. It gave you the something you eat when it's a beautiful day and it's sunny and it's warm. You have, you tend to sort of lean towards salads and things like that. And then I gave you something for when it's cold and when you need comfort food, and that's the enchilada. So you kind of get a sample of both sides of those motives.
Absolutely delicious, thank you.
Well, my specialty is ethnic foods, and I like everything that comes from the idea of culture. So it's a wonderful way to engage with the culture. And I can imagine like an older Mexican woman putting it in a slightly damaged old tablecloth for the whole family to get together. Community eating is lots of fun, and it helps solve the problems that in other way that it could elevate into wars and other bad things. But over the dinner, you can solve all this just by talking. So I would like to ask our youngest member of the crew, the rising star Olive Foy, videographer, to tell us what does he think about Mexican food he tried today.
Well, I've never really tried like much Mexican. I've only really had nachos and stuff. So this is a big change. I really like the enchiladas, the pulled pork ones, and the corn chips are really good because they're homemade, so they're like different to this just the packet ones. I really only tried those two. The chips really go really well with the sauces, and I really like the enchiladas. That's really good. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much for coming. I just have a short message from our sponsor, Area 41 on Broome Street, and then we are going to choose the recipients of the vouchers for Area 41. Do we have some people commenting on us? Just write their names.
Not really.
Not really? Oh my gosh. We might keep it for ourselves then, Warwick.
Absolutely.
That's okay, isn't it? So, a few words from our sponsor, Area 41 on Broome Street. They started their own pizza festival with a special takeout and dine-in menu. Award-winning pizza chef prepared a special selection of multi-grain and gluten-free bases and a very creative toppings. Very Italian, very bellissimo. So I suppose that's the end. Thank you for listening. Thank you, our guests, for coming. And now we're going to take some selfies and post them on Instagram and Facebook. Tune in to 100.4 FM every Saturday at 4 p.m. Remember, there is a live recording of this interview online on Taranaki Foodies with Area 41 group page on Facebook. Meet you next Saturday at 4 p.m. on Airwaves. Bye-bye, my gourmetarians. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone. Awesome.